Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Confidently You podcast. My name is Helen and I'm your host. I'm also head coach at Fit Girl Club, the place for women over 30 who want to feel more confident in their own skin, drop a dress size with ease and just feel amazing. So how are you? How's your week been? How are you getting on? If it's your first time listening, hello, welcome. Welcome to the show. I want to explain that what you see is what you get with me. I am so transparent. I am probably maybe sometimes too transparent, but that's who I am. So glad to have you here along for the ride. This is me, warts and all. I will share everything and anything about my life, and hopefully that'll inspire some of you. And I'll always try and keep it real because life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. I know some of you saw from my social media last week, I was having a bit of a tough time. That happens. You got to ride the ride the wave, girls. If you can't ride the lows, you can't have the highs. So you've just got to go with it. And I will do an episode about low mood and overcoming that in the next few weeks. But more importantly, this week we have a Q&A, because if you have been living under a rock, you might not have heard that my new program has launched, the Glow Up. Now, this is time sensitive, so hopefully you are listening to this as it comes out. If you're listening to this in the future, I'm sorry you have missed out, because it is only open for 1 week only. This is an exclusive program and it's the best of the best that I've put together. My 6 years, it's over 6 years now, girls. It's 6.5 years. I'm going into my 7th year of coaching. Expertise of helping women lose body fat, drop a dress size with ease, overcome all or nothing thinking, never have to diet again, and have more energy. And I've encompassed this into a 12-week specialist program that is a one-to-one, get you results guaranteed. This is guaranteed. If you follow what I say, I guarantee you these results. And it's an amalgamation of everything I've done over the years. So I'm really excited. It launches this week. If you are interested, then I'll put the details in the show notes, or just comment or message me on any of my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on YouTube as well, but that's harder to contact people. I have deleted TikTok, if you didn't know already. Listen back to a few episodes ago. No longer on the TikTok because it was affecting my mental health. So I deleted it. So I'm not on there anymore. Sorry, girls. So if you follow me on there, come over to Instagram or Facebook, where I can protect my peace like I coach people to do as well. So I need to practice what I preach. Anyway, with that in mind, the Glow Up launch this week, I'm super excited for it. I've already got some chats booked in with some women interested in the program. It's 5 spaces. I accidentally put 15 on my email, but it's 5. I'm only 5 spaces to fill this up, and I'm really excited for it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, have a chat with me. Don't sit on the fence. Have a chat. If it's not the right fit, then just say no. You're allowed to say no, but if you don't ask, you'll never know, and you could just be sat there wondering, what if, what could have happened, or where could you have gone with it? So with that in mind, today's episode is going to be a Q&A with questions that people ask me about fat loss in general, about the program, about the Glow Up. So I'm going to encompass it all. Don't worry, I'm not just going to harp on about my program. This is free advice. This platform will always be free advice. You can get help from me and never work with me and get results. I know people that have done that. Please don't think this is a sales pitch. It's not. But if you're interested in the Glow Up, like I said in the show notes, but everything else, hopefully you'll be able to learn something. So I'm going to be looking at my phone. So if you're watching this, just an FYI, I'm getting my phone out, the pink phone. I need to maybe get a cover for that. If you're listening, I've just got a pink cover that's a bit see-through with my emergency £5 in the back of my phone. Anyone else do this? I have zero cash ever with me, apart from my emergency £5 note that's in my back of my phone. Because you never know. If your card doesn't work, at least you can still buy a coffee. That's what it's for, really, isn't it? Okay, so let's deep dive into this Q&A, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, I will be giving you some insights that might help you. First question, can I lose fat and not count calories? So everyone knows my method in Fit Girl Club primarily is counting calories. Now, the reason I get my girls to count calories is because it's like the analogy of the bank balance. I love this saying, and it's saying that if you want to know how much money you've got, you check your bank balance, don't you? So it's there, it's data. right? If we take the emotion away from it, because the problem is for a lot of women, for years, we've held this emotion towards food. And if you overeat, you feel like a failure. And if you're not sticking to a strict diet, you feel like a failure. And that's why a lot of the work I do is a lot of mindset stuff as well. It's not just about here's your plan, off you go. We deep dive into your specific triggers and mindset and thoughts and beliefs and values. And what have you been told your whole life that we need to change the narrative on? We need to start, question things like, why do you think this? Because I get some women that like do not want to count calories. And then I go, why? And they say, I don't like it. I'm like, that's not a good enough reason. You not liking to do something is just basically you being a bit childish, isn't it? All right. By the way, if you're new here, tough love. I will always give it. Let's call a spade a spade. You have to get a bit uncomfortable. If you're overweight or you're in a position where you want to lose body fat, you want to be healthier, you've got to a certain point because it's like that's the easiest thing to do. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable. It's going to be a bit hard. Being in a calorie deficit is a bit of a challenge because you are giving your body less energy than it specifically uses or requires. Not requires, that's maybe the wrong word, because you are getting enough energy because you're then burning fat. But it's going to be hard. Being in a deficit is hard. You have to be rigid and you have to be a bit strict, but there are ways to do it to make it easier. Hence what I teach, like volume eating, eating enough protein, planning your meals, different things like this. Psychological things when it comes to emotional eating. There's so much more that goes into it than just being a calorie deficit, which I absolutely hate when people say that. It's just easy. It's a calorie deficit. It's not bloody easy, but it requires a strategy specific for you. Now, lost my trail of thought there. I love a little tangent, don't I? Now, the thing with counting calories and you saying, I don't want to do it, what I say to everyone is, unless you've got an issue where it comes down to, for want of a better word, an eating disorder or some disordered eating or obsession with counting calories, you're in a different, I'll put you over a different area, okay? I'll put you to the side for now. I'll come back to you because you shouldn't be counting calories. If you just don't like it or can't be bothered, then sorry, come on. You need to suck it up. You need to start being bothered to get results. There are ways to do it, and I'll tell you about it in a minute without counting calories, but it is a bit more challenging. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. Whenever you start a new hobby, whenever you start anything, say if you went out tomorrow and you're like, right, I'm going to learn tennis, it's going to be hard if you've never done it before. Someone's going to hit a ball at you and you're going to just be all over the shop. But the more you practice, the easier it gets. And it's the same with calorie counting. It becomes second nature. It becomes easy. When you're on these apps, they're made really easy now. You scan barcodes, you get whatever it is, your packet of chicken, you scan it, it's in, you make your portion sizes, you save the meal, and then next time, we're creatures of habit. The next time you repeat, it becomes easier. Ask any of my girls or anyone that's been doing it for a longer period of time. Yes, at the start, it's going to be hard, but everything's going to be hard at the start. You need to choose your hard. Do you want to choose the hard of being overweight, being unhappy, being unhealthy? Or do you want to choose the hard of, tracking's a bit challenging and I get my head around it and, taking time of the day, making sure you're tracking. That's you taking care of yourself and making sure you do that. Now, the thing with tracking as well is, and this is something you need to get out your head because I think a lot of women think that they need to be on a diet for the rest of their life. Tracking is not for life. Tracking is a tool to get you to where you want to be. Then once you are there, once you're at, say you're a size whatever and you want to be a size 12, once you get to size 12, you stop tracking altogether. And that isn't magic. That is just you've now learned how to eat for that size. You reverse out of your deficit, so you go back up to a normal. So say your deficit was 1,500 calories, you go up to eating 2,000 calories a day. If you work with someone like me, a coach, or any other good coach should be able to do this for you. They don't talk about it a lot, not many coaches do, but it's something I specifically talk about in my program. Is once we get you to where you want to be, I then teach how to stay there, and that's about increasing your calories so that you're at maintenance, which is the fun part. But this is the bit most women find challenging because they've never done this before. They've either been in a diet or not a diet. Whereas you're going into maintenance, but you're still eating the healthy foods. You're just eating bigger portions. So say every morning you have fruit and yogurt, you'll have that, but you'll have maybe add some oats to it or something a bit more substantial when you're not in a deficit. Anyway, That's getting into, the fine details of everything. And what you need to know is, once you've then hit maintenance, once you've got used to that, you then gradually stop tracking. You let go of the reins. You are not going to go back to where you used to be, because what you should have done, and if you listen to everything I teach you, you have changed your habits to get to where you want to be. So you go on this journey of changing your habits to get to where you want to be in a deficit, and that takes however long it takes. Okay. If you've got, 4, 5, 6 dress sizes to lose, that might take you a year. It might take you a bit longer. It might take you a bit less. But you're consistent with it, and you get to where you want to be, and then you come off tracking. Okay. And then that'll be it. So say in 2 years' time, you could track for 2 years, and then that could be it for the rest of your life. And in an ideal world, you don't keep control of that. You're not like, I like tracking, so I'm going to carry and do it for the rest of my life. I'd love you all to be in a position where you stop tracking altogether. Now, if you are in the corner of people that can't track calories, like you've had an eating disorder in the past, you have obsessions over things, it's going to become detrimental to your health and your mindset. And be really honest with yourself about this, because there's only a select few people that I've ever worked with that really are in that corner. And it does make things more challenging, but you can still lose body fat. And it's about looking at your eating patterns, what you're eating, how you're eating, when you're eating, which you will be doing when you're counting calories as well. And then you do really need a coach, a good coach as well, who will, because it's really hard if you don't know how to eat already, to learn how to eat if you're not counting calories, because the reason counting calories works so well is it's like keeping a food diary, and it gives you instant results. So you put in that you've had, I don't know, yogurt, fruit, and granola for breakfast, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that granola's 300 calories, but it's given me no substantial anything for my life. So why am I doing that? So you switch it out for oats. If you're doing that on your own, it's really hard because you don't have the knowledge of nutrition, and probably you don't have the time to go out and do a course yourself or anything like that. So I do have clients. I've had a few in the past, and I've got a few now who only do a food diary. And one of my clients, she's really good at it, and we've had really good results because she's meticulous about it. She's listened to me, she's learned, she's kept a food diary. She sends me pictures of everything she eats, and then she was having toast and jam and peanut butter. No, toasted tea cake with jam for breakfast, and I was like, right, let's switch that out. What do you like? And I went through all the options, and then we've decided on, she has a protein bagel with eggs, and I think she might have sausage and spinach in it. Every morning she has that, because we've now got a structure. She has that, and then she'll have soup, she'll have a snack of baby bell and apples, and then she'll have, for want of a better word, a healthy dinner. Carbs, protein, veggies. And she's losing body fat with that, because we know that that's a good, healthy diet, giving her sustained energy. And then, yes, once a week she has a bit of cake, or she likes Revels or a treat or something like that, and she fits that in. But it has taken a bit longer to get her results because we're not having that instant feedback of calorie counting. But it is possible. But I do really think it's harder if you don't count calories. It is possible. And what you need to be looking at as well is your diet, and you do need to be keeping some sort of log. You need to be keeping a log, because what tends to happen is we'll tend to pick up different things and snack on them, and you don't realise, like, a little bit here, a crust of your child's leftovers, or a coffee and cake with a friend, and you forget to track that, or someone's giving you a couple of chocolates and here and then, it could add up to like 500 calories a day, and that's taking you out of a deficit. So the way to plan your meals would still be the same. So incorporating, nutrients, which are your fruits and vegetables, slow release carbs, so pasta, rice, potatoes, whole grains are better, of course, but not essential, and oats, things like that. And then protein. Okay, so if you make 50% of your plate veggies, quarter protein, quarter carbs, and then some healthy fats sprinkled in throughout the day. Avocado, oils, butters or nuts, seeds, fish, things like that. Salmon. But it is a lot harder, and that's why me saying you need a coach is probably not helpful to some of you, but you can lose body fat on your own without a coach. A lot of people need a coach for accountability, but you can learn how to do it with counting calories. You can also do it without counting calories, but you just need to be more aware of the food you're eating and the nutritional value. Okay, hope that helped. Number 2, can I overeat on protein? So protein is such a buzzword and it's such a big thing at the minute, and it's been for years, hasn't it? Protein this, protein that. Foods putting protein in and extra added protein, get your protein granola, and it's just rubbish, that is. So yes, you need to be having a certain amount of protein in your food for the reason that it makes you feel fuller for longer, and also building lean muscle mass, especially after 35, girls. Our muscle mass starts decreasing if we don't do anything about it. It's not a red flag unless you're just sedentary, but really we should do some sort of resistance training incorporated in our training and be eating enough protein. Now, how much is enough protein? I would say, rule of thumb, minimum 100 grams, unless you're really, really small, 100 grams per person. And if you're a meat eater and you're not vegetarian or vegan, that's really easy. See, it's all right if you're vegetarian as well, because you can have eggs, you can have cottage cheese, you can have dairy products. But if you are vegan, it is hard to get your protein in, but it's not impossible. You just have to be more mindful of it. So 100 grams is like my blanket approach minimum. But really, if you are looking at sustaining good muscle growth, you're a bit more serious about it, you can make a big focus on it. It's 1.2 grams of protein to 1.5 grams per kilogram that you weigh. How much protein should I have? Yeah, that's right, it was kilograms. In fact, sometimes it says pounds, but it's 1.2 to 1.5. So I'm about 72 kilograms. Yes, that's about 108. So if you're a bit more serious about it, then you should be aiming to get nearly 2 grams of protein per kilogram of weight up to those high scales. Now, can you overeat on protein? Yes and no. No, as in like it doesn't really matter, because then that protein will just be turned into energy. Whatever your muscles don't need, your body will then convert it into glucose, which is your normal energy source for your body. If you are someone, now this is a big if, like a massive if you are someone who's ever had kidney issues or any issues with digestion or any stomach issues or things like that, sometimes having too much protein can affect things like that. To be honest with you, have to be, it's like a ridiculous amount as well. And you'd have already spoke to your doctor about it. Okay, nothing to worry about. Most of you aren't eating enough. I shouldn't worry about overeating. So I'd aim for at least 100 grams a day, everyone, blanket approach. If you are struggling to get enough protein in, look at your protein sources. So are you looking at lean meat? So when we say lean meats, we mean like white meat, like chicken breast, turkey breast. You could be getting chicken, but you can have chicken thighs, which has more fat content. It's just about educating yourself about how much protein's in things. Like eggs are a fantastic source of nutritional value because the yolks have fat as well. They have B vitamins, they have different vitamins in that they give you loads of energy, and it's good nutrients for your body. And they've got protein as well, so protein and fats, but they're not actually that high in protein unless you're having a larger amount. And there are some people that say too many eggs can affect your cholesterol, but that's if you don't have a good diet. Everything is nuanced. If you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, anything in excess can be bad for you because you're not giving your body the nutrients it needs. Your diet should be balanced. Should be balanced throughout. You should be eating plenty of different vegetables, loads of different colours, lean meats, and then I occasionally eat like red meat and fattier meats, as I say them more as like a treat. So that's my 20%. The majority of the time, white fish is fantastic, really high in protein. Prawns and white fish is amazing for increasing your protein as well. If you are vegan, you can get enough protein. Tofu, soy products, amazing. I'm intolerant, so I can't have them, so that really frustrates me. Corn products are really good for high protein if you are vegetarian or vegan. Like I said before, eggs are good. Pair them with something like cottage cheese, high protein Greek yogurt, or you can have beans, legumes, and lentils and add them to your diet. They don't have as high a protein value as lean meats and white fish, unless it's like tofu. So just be aware of stuff. Just start educating yourself about stuff, reading the back of labels. If you are counting calories, this is a great chance for you to look at different foods and see what its nutritional value is. Okay, so this is a great question I had from one of my clients, and she's been working with me a long time as well. And I think the reason she asked me this, because when she asked me this, I was like, you know this, you know what this is. But I'm always happy to answer. Never a stupid question. Don't care if you've been with me for 20 years. That's a long time. And I've answered this question a million times, just always ask. I'd rather you ask me. Then she'd seen something on TikTok, bloody TikTok. Told you I've deleted it. But she'd seen something on TikTok and it was about Whole Foods. And she was like, Helen, what are Whole Foods? And I explained, Whole Foods are food sources that are naturally derived from the planet. So not processed. And I mean over processes in added stuff's added to them. So fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, potatoes, oats, meats as well, really. Yeah, there's a process. You have to butcher something. You have to do a process. That is a process. Fishing for a fish is a process. But if you have a whole fish, there's nothing being added to it. Okay? So there's no additives added to it. So that's what Whole Foods. But this is funny that it's become a trend that people are talking about on TikTok, and it's great that they are. But your diet should mainly be whole foods. 80% of your diet should be whole foods. I count canned things as whole foods as well. Canning stuff has been around for years, and it's just a way to preserve foods. But do look at labels, because sometimes some of the beans you buy from certain places have added stuff in the water to extra preserve them, and you don't need that. I'm not telling you to get obsessed about UPFs, but start reading some labels of some stuff and be like, well, what does that even mean? Just question things, because you can get a tin of beans, and I can't remember where they were from, the ones that had the additives and ones that didn't. I'm sure it was Aldi that didn't. Anyway, I declined, and I told her about my homemade baked bean recipe. Unreal. You'll never buy baked beans again, girls. Honestly, homemade baked beans are the one. Message me if you want the recipe. And she was asking about buying beans. I was like, oh, get them from Aldi, they're cheaper. And I think in Aldi, some of the beans have this additive in just to help preserve them. It's so unnecessary. But if you get the cannellini beans, which are what baked beans would be anyway, they don't have them. So just look at labels and stuff. Don't get obsessed with it. At the end of the day, I don't know if you're like me, but in my 20s, I was rolling around clubs and in my early 20s and my late teens in very conspicuous circumstances. And I didn't look after myself very well. I got little sleep. I used to party all weekend. I did not care. I also smoked for 14 years. Now, I look after myself very well now. I exercise. I look at my skin. I feel like I'm aging backwards. I'm really annoying, but I'm a coach, so I do practice what I preach. I get up every morning, 6 o'clock alarm, even on a weekend, and I walk my dog. I have healthy habits. I eat nutrient-dense food. I exercise. Most days I take one rest day a week, and I look after myself, body, mind and soul, okay? But I didn't used to. So I'm also aware that I want my body to be in the best possible health it can be now. And that's why I look after myself. And I enjoy looking after myself, and I feel good looking after myself. But also, if I eat something that has an additive once in a while, I'm not going to worry about it, because I put a lot of worse things in my body. I'm looking after it a lot better now. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Alcohol's a poison, girls. I think it's so contradictory sometimes when people are like, don't eat processed food, UPF food. They're always a bit annoying, aren't they? This is toxic. That guy on Instagram, toxic tonic health. Should be called toxic health. And he's like, this is bad. This is bad. He's walking around the supermarket and you're like, oh, piss off. Get in the bin. Half the people he's speaking to are like, yeah, it's bad. And then you get pissed on a weekend. Alcohol is basically poison. And I'm not telling you not to drink, but I'm also telling you not to diminish foods that have some sort of processing in. And I bet every one of you, right, listen to this. I guarantee every one of you listen to this has some sort of meal out or takeaway or anything once in your life. You don't just eat kale and almonds, do you? No. I'd be very surprised if I have any listeners that want, for a better word, an almond mum, in quotations marks. If you know what an almond mum is, it's like this really rigid, strict, making your own matcha and, crushing your own grapes with your feet and silly stuff like that. So this scaremongering, fear, negative news spreads, okay? Spreads easy and people get sucked into it. try your best to eat your best, and that's all that matters. And sometimes just bloody enjoy something that you really enjoy. Just do it, whatever it is, because you're all going to die at some point anyway. We all are. We all end up in the same place. Don't know where that is. In the ground or... I've just got really dark really fast, haven't I? But majority of the time, look after yourself, because you only get one body. You need to look after it. But also, you're causing yourself more stress worrying about what ingredients are in stuff. So whole foods, in answer to that question where I went on a massive rant again, things naturally derivative. But who knows, in 10 years, we might have to eat processed stuff anyway, because we might run out of food in the apocalypse. Who knows? So enjoy that almond croissant while you can. I don't know how processed an almond croissant is, by the way. I'm trying to think of a highly processed food that I like. I don't know. Can't think of any. There obviously are some. Okay, next question. What's better for fat loss, walking or running? So as you all know, well, you probably know, if you don't know this, I'm a runner. I'm training for my ultra marathon in July, 50 miles in the Lake District. I'll have to do an episode about training for long races running, or do a running episode. I will do a running episode. So I love running. I enjoy it. I know I'm a psycho. I don't enjoy it all the time, but I enjoy the process of it. It's my goal at the minute. I'm very good if I've got hyper focus. In the past, I've done CrossFit, I've done bodybuilding, I've done all the different avenues of exercise. I'm just loving working towards distance running. And I love going out on a weekend and running on the trails, putting my waterproof socks on and splashing through mud and puddles at the minute, and you just don't care. Splish, splash. It's all going up your legs and you don't care. Right? It's great. Getting in the car after and having a packed lunch of soup and wraps. Honestly, 10 out of 10 girls. Can't recommend it enough. But I do running because I enjoy it. I'm not running for fat loss. I'm not trying to lose fat at the minute. I'm where you might want to be. I'm at a point in my life where I don't need to count calories anymore. I eat the way I eat because it makes me feel good. It fuels me. I train for purpose, not for fat loss. And yeah, that might sound really annoying, but I'm just an insight of where you can be. This is possible, because I didn't always used to be like this. And I've had to cut calories in the past, and I've had to train and do a certain amount of steps every day for fat loss. And I had to get myself there. But when you're starting out, if you don't want to run, don't, okay? What I recommend you do for exercise is resistance training and something that gets your heart rate up a bit. And that could be anything from a spin class, Zumba. My girls, most of them, depending on what the goals are, get like a cardio weight-based finisher. Some of the girls prefer like a longer 40-minute like session, like circuit training. You can do fast walking, you can do anything, but you should incorporate something that gets your heart rate up a bit, because that's like general fitness. But walking is amazing for fat loss because it's low impact. Everyone near enough can do it. Near enough, I said, near enough, not everyone. Most people can do it. It also doesn't burn you out, so it doesn't make you hungrier. What tends to happen is when people start exercising more, they get hungrier, so they eat more, so then they're not in a deficit. So they're eating their deficit because they're hungrier. So when you're walking, because it's not getting your heart rate up and it is just like you're taking over, it's just gentle movement, it is helping keep your furnace burning, which is your metabolism. That's your metabolism, your furnace. Inside, we've all got metabolism, and it's our energy, right? Burning energy for your body. Like me, I stand up. I'm stood up now. I stand up all day. I hardly sit down. It's the thing. I'm just so used to it. I just don't sit down. I don't really like sitting down either. That sounds like a really odd comment, but I just don't. And you'll burn more the more you move. This is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I think it's activity, but it's basically your NEAT is moving around, and that's what walking counts to. So if you're someone that's currently looking to lose body fat and you're quite sedentary, the best thing to do is get in a calorie deficit and watch what you're eating, right? Your nutrition. Join the glow up, by the way, and move more. And the way to move more is not to hit the magic 10,000 steps a day, because that's a load of rubbish and it was made up. It's to do more than you're currently doing. The more you do it, the better it'll be. But you also need to manage fitting it in with your life, having enough energy for you to do it, and you need to just fit in with like everything that's going on with you. So you don't go from couch to 20,000 steps a day. You build up gradually and fit something in that's suitable for you. But this might be hard when you start. It might be a bit more pressure than you're currently used to. You're obviously just sitting around doing nothing for a reason, and that's because it's easy. So we need to make it attainable. And what I say with my clients is we get to a certain amount of steps, and then if they're like, oh, that's easy, let's do more. One of the biggest tips I can use as well is use your weekly average. I used to be obsessed in lockdown with hitting my step target. I put my step target up to 15,000 a day. And I was so obsessed that I used to do laps of my apartment at night if I didn't hit it. Absolutely not about that life anymore. So, one, I'm not trying to lose fat, but I hit on average 12 to 14,000 steps a day because of my running, because my running supplements that movement. But on a rest day, like on Sunday, I only hit 5,000 steps. But I didn't mean, oh my God, I'm a failure. Oh, I've not done it. I was just like, my average is, the day before I'd hit over 20,000. Use your weekly average. So if you've got a really busy day on a Wednesday today, and you literally, I cannot fit anymore in Helen. I've got to get up early. I've got to drop the kids off. I've got to see my parents, and I've got to look after someone else, and I've got to do this, and I've got this club, and then I've got to go to this event, and I've got parents' evening, or then I've got to, a lot of you look after sick elderly parents as well. You stretch so thin, and then you've got to catch up with this, blah, 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 blah. You're like, how am I going to get more steps in? You can't. On days like that, you can. But tomorrow, when you've got a couple of extra hours, your car further away from the supermarket, park your car further away, walk somewhere instead of driving. One of my biggest ways to get my running up / steps up is actually I run to the gym now. It's 1.5 miles away. So I get a 3-mile run in when I run to the gym and run back when I've got time. But like today, where I've got my launch, my new program, and I've got lots of calls to do, I won't be going to the gym today. I have an hour spare to do my workout, and then I'm going to do a walking pad run. So getting a walking pad really helps. The one I got was £90 off Amazon, and it's fantastic. Best £90 I've ever spent. I'll say that about a lot of things, but it was, and I do use it quite a lot. I run on it, but it's literally, it only goes up to 8 kilometers an hour. That's the fastest it goes. You could probably do a really fast walk on it, but you can just walk on it. Put some Netflix on. It counts. You also have walking workouts on YouTube if you can't get out of the house, or if you're someone that is, made of sugar and you're going to melt if it rains. There are lots of opportunities. You can join a walking group, you can join a rambling group, you can go with a friend, listen to a podcast. But the more you move, the better, because the more you move, the easier it is to stay in a calorie deficit, because your calorie deficit doesn't have to be as extreme. If you're sat in your house all day, you're probably burning a lot less calories. You are burning a lot less calories. So if you're, say, the average woman, I'm not even going to say her weight or height, right? Probably burns, if you're sedentary, you're burning around less than 2,000 calories. 2,000 is the average, so you could be burning like 800 calories. Then to get in a deficit, you won't want to go in a 500 calorie deficit from 800. Not when you first start anyway. It's like that's 1,300 calories a day is not fun, right? Some of you might have to be in that, and I'm sorry for you. It's okay. But if you say you have to be in 1,300 calories a day and you're really struggling because that's not a lot of food, if you go out and get 10,000 more steps a day, 10,000 is the magic number, obviously, you'll then be able to eat more because your deficit will be bigger because you're moving more. Does that make sense? You're not eating back the calories you've used, but because you move more, you will burn more calories, and therefore you'll be able to eat more to sustain your deficit. If that doesn't make sense, you've got to message me. Okay, next one. How long will it take me to lose 60 kilograms? How long is a piece of string? No. Realistically, so let's do some maths with this. I will work this out with you. I should have probably done this before the podcast, but in pounds. So that's £132. So realistically, I can lose a pound a week. That's a realistic deficit. That's a 500 calorie a day deficit, 3,500 calories a day. Okay, that's a pound of fat a week. That sounds a lot, doesn't it? But most people can stick happily with a 500 calorie a day deficit. If you're eating the right foods, if you're eating the foods at the right time, if you're managing your hunger correctly, you can do it. And that's a reasonable deficit. It's quite, I tend to do 300 to 400, but you can do 500. Now, £132, so it'd take you 132 weeks divided by 52. So it's going to take you about 2.5 years to lose that. And that sounds crazy, doesn't it? But we have to be realistic. If you think, right, so I don't know how much you weigh, the lady that's asked this question, but you're probably about 130 kilograms. Okay. So you would be able to do a bit more of an aggressive deficit to start. but you wouldn't want to be much more than 500 calories a day deficit. Now, if you're weighing 130 kilograms, you're going to be able to eat a lot of food a day, even in a deficit. Your calorie deficit is going to be really high, and it's going to be about maintaining that and changing your habits. And once you change your habits and start eating better and having better energy, this is just something you'll have to sustain. In 2.5 years, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? You're like, but I want it quicker. But if you think more than £1 a week, this is realistic, girls. More than £1 a week is going into more than 500 calories a day deficit. You're just going to lose hope. You're just going to get fed up. You go into restriction. You go into stages where you're underfueling, you're undereating, you haven't got energy. And this is what I help women with. It's changing your mindset and changing the narrative that this isn't a diet. You're not putting yourself on your diet. You are putting yourself on a lifestyle change, and you're going to change the way you look at food and your emotion and your attachment and your values and all your beliefs you had. And that is how you're going to lose fat sustainably. So 2.5 years might sound like a long time, but also, remember me talking last week about the sliding doors effect? You can go on a really strict diet, right? You can lose 10 kilograms in the first few weeks, but then you're just going to put it all back on again when you give up. So wouldn't you rather it take a longer time and you have those changes, but you will change with it? You'll change who you are as you go on that journey. So what I'd say differently is not how can I lose 60 kg? Go for 10 first. Just lose 10. And once you've done 10, you just have to repeat that again. Break it down. I am not going to run 50 miles in one go. I'm going to run 5 miles 10 times. Actually, I can run 10 miles 5 times. I love a 10-mile run. 10 miles great for me. It's a nice little number. Enjoy it. Just have to do that 5 times. That sounds so much easier, doesn't it, than 50 miles. I'm going to go run 50 miles. Are you insane? No, I'm going to break it up. So you just want to lose 10 kg first. But trust me, once you've done that, you'll have changed your life already, and the rest will be easier. Okay, next question. How many days should I train? Okay, so this is another nuanced question because it's very specific to each person. So if you're going from nothing at all, you've sat on the sofa for the last 10 years and you don't train at all, like I said before, calorie deficit and walking is a great start. I always encourage my clients to start some resistance training. And when a client starts with me, if they haven't got weights at home or they haven't used weights before, we do body weight exercises, 20-minute YouTube that I filmed that they follow along, and they'll start 2 times a week. Really simple. And once they can do that, we add more. Once that becomes easy, what tends to happen is like, oh, I want to do more. Shall I buy some weights? And they get some little weights, and then we start doing weight training 2 or 3 times a week. But it's only what you can fit in. The problem is when you start training, you might really want to be like, right, I want to go for it. Oh, I can do everything. I can do all this, but it's fitting it in with your life. That's what you have to be realistic about. And also you have to have recovery days because it is going to take your body a few more days to recover than it will someone like me. I can train. I do 6 days in a row, but I'll do different sorts of training. Like yesterday was a run. Normally on a Monday it's swimming. Today will be weight training and running. Tomorrow will be running and Stairmaster. But I've built this up and I've been training for 10 years. When I first started, I only did maximum 3 days a week and it was always cardio and abs. And that was it. I've learned a lot now. You should strength train. I didn't know this when I started. I also was one of those girls that said I didn't want to look bulky. Look at me now. It's really hard to be bulky, girls. Yeah, really, really hard. But I'm happy with my muscle mass and I gain muscle quite easily. I'm blessed in that way. And that is genetics, by the way, and training and protein. Anyway, I digress. So when you start out, you shouldn't be doing more than you can do consistently. It's about consistency. And you are better to build up slowly and increase than you are to go in hard, get the worst DOMs and not be able to sit down in the toilet or walk down the stairs for a few days and then never want to do it again and absolutely hate it. Start small and then increase. If you're starting out with, running or cardio as well, start small and then increase. If you do something like the Couch to 5K, I'm sure it's like you do 1 or 2 days a week and it's really small runs to start with. I've got a girl at the minute and she's training for the Great North Run in September. She's previously run, she is healthy, she's quite fit, she's strong, she's done CrossFit, but she needs to build up that cardiovascular fitness. And we have just started with first run was 20 minutes, go out and run for 20 minutes. I don't care how far you go, I want you to go slow, so you don't absolutely die, and then we'll build up. And then over time, we are building up, and you just build up the volume over time to get you to that half marathon. But when you're starting out, it just needs to fit in with your life, and it needs to be consistent. There's no good you going and doing a spin class this week and then not going for 4 weeks. You need to fit something in that you're going to do every week. And sometimes you're not going to be motivated to go, but you have to suck it up and do it anyway. Right, last question. This is common, so thank you for sending this in, whoever sent this in. I'm not naming any names on this, but I've had this quite a lot recently, and I've spoken to a lot of women that are struggling with this. So you're not alone. I just want to let you know you're not alone. So question is, I'm struggling because I've come off weight loss injections and I'm gaining the weight back. Honestly, like I said, you're not alone. This is happening a lot with women. The problem with weight loss injections, just for anyone that's listening, if you're thinking about going on them, do what you want. It's your life. Go for it. But they're an appetite suppressant. So whilst you're on them, you will lose body fat, because most of you, some people don't, but most of you will, because you won't eat as much, which will put you in a deficit, and usually puts you in a massive deficit as well. So it is like a really rigid, strict diet, because it's not regulated that much, and people just go, oh, I'm just going to up my dose to the highest dose, and they're just not hungry and they don't eat. And then they're malnourished, but that's a story for another day. Then what happens when you get down to where you want to be? I'm at a size 12, I'm happy, right, I'm going to come off them, because you don't want to be in this injection your whole life. Most of you are losing your hair and have got diarrhea or other issues. So you're like, right, I want to come off them. And then as soon as you go off them, you go back to how you used to eat. It's because you've not learned how to eat or what you should be eating, and you've not changed how you're eating and your lifestyle. So this is why the weight gain comes back on, and it's coming back on faster apparently. There has been studies done now that it's happening a lot faster than would with a normal diet that is just restriction, but with willpower. So it's okay. It's all right. Please don't think it's not your fault. You've been sold this magic pill again. Women are targeted all the time. It's not your fault. It's okay. The best thing to do is start looking at your habits and your lifestyle and changing them, and re-looking at everything as you would do, as I would do. If I had a client who's been on Mounjaro, weight gain, they'd get the same recipe for success as all my other clients get. The strategic differences might be there because everyone's individual and everyone gets an individual program. But really, you need to start tracking your food intake, calorie deficit, and moving more, and looking at your habits, your values, your beliefs, and your quality of your nutrition. But if you need help, you'd be perfect for the glow up, and it's not a lost cause. So, like I said, information in the show notes. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed that one. I went on a few Helen rants and tangents, and that's probably why you listen to me, because you probably enjoy Helen's rants and tangents. If you have any questions, please just message me on any of the forums, Facebook, Instagram, Pigeon or Owl, and I will get back to you. I don't think that's not funny, is it? And I'll put information about the glow up. It's launched this week. I'm taking calls till Sunday. Then after that, it is closing forever. And it's going on Monday, and it's a 12-week program which guarantees you to drop a dress size with ease, never diet again, overcome all or nothing thinking, have more energy, and just generally feel like yourself again. So if you're interested, let me know. But if you're not, hope you're good. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.